Welcome back, Organic Fanatics, the ORGA Fanatics. We got some things to talking about. All right, congratulations to the Denver Nuggets beating the Miami Heat. Could have been us there, and that's what we're gonna segue to. But congratulations to Denver Nuggets. Jokic winning his first championship. You Denver for winning their first championship. Well done. They played very well. And that's those two teams that made it to the finals telling you something, right? It's not those weren't teams that had superstars or teaming up or these all these superstars that you got to beat to be there. These were teams that built organically. Always segue in that. So they build organically. They build their way from a team, not just a bunch of stars. They didn't have the options on there like these top markets. Even though we're a top market, we haven't been a destination spot for never because people are scared to play, and also because of the media, clickbait. So, but things are changing. Tides are changing. These are showing right there of what's possible, what's to come. You can see what we've been doing the last 3 years. Shout out to the front office, Leon Rose, Gerson Rosas, Brock Allard, Worldwide West, everybody, Johnny Bryant, the coaching staff, Thibodeau. So we're going trending in the right direction. Two playoffs in 3 years. The development of our youth, the development of even our veterans, the development of even our coach, learning and adapting. So a lot of positives that we can take away, especially this year. A lot of accolades from our players: Julius Randle, All Star, All NBA. Jalen Brunson got snubbed as an All Star. He definitely should have got All Star or Most Improved Player. He improved by about 5 points. IQ almost getting a Six Man of the Year, which he got robbed by Brogdon, who hardly ever played. But I guess they're trying to cheat because IQ started 20 games and averaged about 20 points in the starting. All that to say, we're doing the right thing. We're trending in the right place. And now that leads to what we're talking about now. Now that the NBA basically is over, the season's over, the playoffs are over, the championship's over, the dominoes are starting to fall. You saw Fred Van Fleet yesterday denied his extension for $23 million was his extension. So he's obviously looking to get big money. Now his ex-coach from Toronto, Nick Nurse, is now the head coach at Philly. Huh, that's weird. So they turned on the extension. He's obviously going to want major money. Now, if you look at what Toronto did, Toronto lets you know what they're doing. There's a lot of smoke happening right now. Toronto's a team to watch right now. Toronto's a team to watch. Toronto hired the assistant coach of was it the Memphis Grizz? I think it's the Memphis Grizzlies. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the assistant coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, who was a good coach in the G League, who's potentially a coach that's really good for young players and development. He was really good at that. So why would Toronto get that type of coach? And you got these talents there. Fred Van Fleet not signing his extension, which we knew he was going to do anyway to get more money. But now that lets you know that trades are coming. They got to get rid of those players. Are those players going to think that this rookie coach, there's not a bunch of Mazulas out there like in Boston? They're not ready. So is Pascal Siakam, is OG Ananobi, uh, Gary Trent Jr. Do these guys think that they're going to be able to win in Toronto, or are they going to want to make that move in Toronto? Gary Trent's young enough that they can keep him and try to build with him and Scotty Barnes. Gary Trent, I believe, is only 25. So do they build with him, or do they use him as an asset and then acquire young talent and then start over? Because with the talent they had, the Pascal Siakam, the Fred Van Fleet, the OG Ananobi, they made it to 10th place last year. So is that what you're really going to want to start over with? I think not. So I think the inevitable is that they're going to start moving assets. They're going to start making trades. They're going to try to acquire picks. If they're going young, they're going to want youth. So they're going to look for talent and picks. Talent and picks. So if a trade was out there on our aspect, just think again, the common sense would be our youth to a certain extent. RJ and Canada would make sense. That'll fill seats in the arenas. We don't want to trade RJ. We want to keep RJ only as I'm thinking as what other team would want. They want young players, maybe even an IQ. Because if Fred VanVleet goes, they're not going to have a guard. Maybe they want an IQ. IQ wants to start. So you want to go to Toronto, maybe a sign and trade or something like that. So I don't know, something to keep an eye out for either IQ. I don't know if they do Obi because you got Scotty Barnes, who's already a power forward, and possibly RJ because they're gonna have to move some of those contracts. Pascal Siakam has a pretty hefty contract, which we spoke about it in one of our videos. If you haven't seen it, go back to the last video. RJ and Hartenstein equals pretty much what it would take for Pascal. For Pascal Siakam to come over, they're gonna try to get a lot of picks and stuff like that. So whether it's Pascal Siakam, whether it's OG, you're gonna want to go for Pascal. Pascal's the better talent and worth the picks out there and more durable than OG Anunoby. So if this is only if we don't want to get rid of RJ, I'm all for Mr. Nine Man myself, Mr. Broadway Barrett. Want to keep our talent, but they're looking to rebuild. I'm thinking an RJ Hartenstein Pascal swap, something like that. Picks, it's whatever. I'm not gonna be dealing with the picks, whatever. 2, 3 picks, whatever it is. That's up to management. They know what they need, and that fits our window of the 4 year. If you're talking about the window I'm talking about, the 4 year Jalen Brunson, Randall time frame, that 4 year window is what we're looking at with this talent, and then grow with some youth to take over in about 4 years or 3 years from what these veterans are doing. So that's what we're looking at there. If they're looking at that window, which I'm sure they are, they want to add talent without giving up a whole lot. The cap's next year, so they got good value in all our players. The contract for RJ is really good, so as the cap hits next year, RJ's contract's a phenomenal contract, so they would want that. So being that and the cap, I don't think we have to give up too many picks, even though they're going to try. Leon Rose and Gersons are good negotiators and good talent scouts, so I can see that RJ Hartenstein for Toronto would make sense. Woj also did report about um, Mr. Suns himself, Chris Paul. I don't see it that Chris Paul would come to us. He is, and by the way, he's a CAA client. He's a client of CAA, Chris Paul. But that doesn't mean, I don't think that that means that he's going to come to New York unless he's willing to take a bench role. He's not going to play over. He's not going to play over Brunson. He's not going to play at the 2 because of his health. If he comes off the bench and maybe we move IQ or something like that, that would be very good. If he's willing to take a bench role, he would be phenomenal. Lobbing to Obi, finding players, finding Mitch on the move. He would make that second team a first team just on that alone. That would be huge if we can keep him and he's willing to take that bench role. We can definitely exceed to the Eastern Conference Finals with him. I don't see that happening with the money. That's a lot to take, but I think they're using that aspect as here's a CAA client. They're using him for his best interests. Um, Phoenix is trying to waive him so they don't have to pay him his 31 million and only pay him 15, which that could happen. He loses out on 15, but by them waiving him, that makes him essentially a free agent. So they would lose on anything if they're trying to trade him. They could acquire stuff by trying to trade him. He has 2 years left, about 30 mil each. So the fact that the Knicks are asking about him is we're trying to get that cheap or seeing if we can use him in the three-way trade. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's coming to the Knicks. I think it's using him as a three-way trade to get him to somewhere he would want to go because they're not going to do their client wrong. So they're trying to use him as a three-way trade or use him as a piece to get something for them, or maybe acquire more picks or dead contracts and then facilitate him to a different type team. So the fact that they're even inquiring about him, because Woj said it, so Woj said it, it's a possibility. They're going to try to get something out of it. It's not that they're looking to get him to play for them, I don't believe, because they're not. That's a lot of money. 30 years for this year, 30 million for this year, 30 mil for next year. Even though they can waive it, he is a CAA client, so they're not going to do him dirty. So I see it as a 3-team deal. So that's one thing to look at. Woj mentioned it yesterday. So Chris Paul thing is not. I don't think he's coming to us at all. I think it's going to be. It would be a great talent for us to have. I don't know how the money works and who you have to free up and give up for that. Now Phoenix is really interested in Quickly, so it could be that we could do a sign and trade. Maybe sign Quickly to a pretty big extension, maybe about 30 a year, something like that, or something, and trade him. People are talking about Ayton. Ayton, nah. Ayton, he doesn't fit. His attitude doesn't fit. Two Randalls is like two Spider-Mans pointing at each other. That's not gonna work. That's too much negative energy. We only got room for Randall and the outburst. Him and Aiton would probably throw blows to each other, fighting each other on the bench, like physical fight. It'll be ugly. So I don't see that Aiton thing working. I definitely see the Chris Paul a sign and trade with Quickly because Phoenix is really showing interest in Quickly. So the only way that would work, we're not going to give him that cheap contract. We're going to extend Quickly to some money. Maybe trade it for Chris Paul if Chris Paul is willing to play off the bench. That that's a good possibility. We could sign him maybe a 3 4 year, maybe 100 million or something like that for IQ. Figure out some other money to fit to get Chris Paul. So that's something that we can look for. So I think the IQ, the Phoenix with Chris Paul, and maybe either get Chris Paul for us off the bench or a 3-team trade. Maybe move him somewhere else to get a different player, different asset. Could be possible. Could be possible. So I'm not sure about that. So that's something we want to look at. That's out there. Also the Toronto. I can't see them getting a rookie coach like that. I mean, with no experience, and then you're gonna try to run with those players. They said he's good enough to coach, and yeah, all right. That's. I think they're just saying that to keep the value of the players, to not show their hand that they're gonna be trading the players, and obviously, they're trading the players. So that's stuff to look for. But the chess game's open. If you've been in New York, the park where everybody's playing chess, it's official. All the teams are out there. Leon Rose is advancing to each table as he's knocking off these managers. All the moves are happening now. They're making the trades. They're making the negotiations. Players have till the 22nd to basically decline their option. That makes them available on July 1st for any kind of trades. Anybody that's really wanted to make moves and get money, they're gonna waive their extension now because before the draft, because that makes them eligible for trades for other teams to move picks. So you're gonna see a lot of moving around. This is the month. These next 2 weeks, it's a forest fire right now. This is when you're gonna start seeing a lot of the moves. The first domino was Fred Van Fleet, and then the Chris Paul talks. So now you're gonna start see it moving. Van Fleet, I can't really see him going anywhere else other than Philly. There's a lot of teams that may want him. He is a winning player. He has a good winning percentage, but he is undersized. So who would really want to take him? Nick Nurse would really want to take him. So him and Embiid, I can see that happening. Move out of away from Harden because Harden's going to want a big contract. So that's why he's talking about going to Houston because he's trying to make as much money as he can. Why would he want to go to Houston? They're not going to win, but they'd give him a big contract. So something to look at there. So all the dominoes are starting to fall. Just giving you guys a little tidbit. Check back some of the videos that we had, the last 2 or 3. We got a lot of detailed info of who we could possibly go for, who we think we might be looking at. But I think, again, it's ultimately unrestricted free agencies where we're going to look for. But there are trades possible. That Toronto move changed a lot of what we were talking, not what we were talking about, but what we thought. So now there's opportunity to go and get yourself an all-star. Not a superstar, not an elite player, but an all-star. But if you have to trade RJ, you got to get someone better than him. We've been saying that. So you're not going to replace him with someone else, especially when he has high upside as a youth. He has a phenomenal contract. So those things outweigh a lot of things. Those things outweigh extra picks for the most part, in my opinion. So if you trade RJ and they get a Hartenstein because they're going to get rid of Pirtle, you got a big who can assist, who will definitely help young players and get them in the right position. Who's played with RJ, the money matches there. Maybe two protected and one unprotected. I think that's still a lot, but that's probably the realm of what we're looking at. Make the money match and then two protected, one unprotected. You get Paskal Siakam. Now you got Paskal as a starter with Julius Randle, with Jalen Brunson, and whoever we get in the free agency. Again, if Porzingis waves and you got money, then you're definitely going to have to free up some more money. You got to sign Josh Hart, and then after that's going to be free agents. And Alec Burke, again, I like Jalen McDaniels, whoever else that's going to play a power forward spot. and then you're gonna have to free up salary. Do you keep Obi, or at that point, if we get a Pascal and we can get a Porzingis, then you're looking at you have to trade the young youth we have. As much as you don't want to, you may have to trade them to get picks and dead contracts or expiring contracts to make money work. So I think Toronto's going to be the one to watch. If there's any move that we make with Toronto or even Phoenix, you got to start making that money work. If you acquire some other salary, you get a Porzingis, a Chris Paul, and a Pascal. I mean, you're pretty, and you sign Josh Hart. You got to make some money moves. So that means the rest of the team is going to be dead contracts in some kind of way. You're going to have to trade the rookies and draft picks to get some people that the money's going to start falling off, so you can free up money. So that's what I'm thinking on there. I don't know about the Chris Paul. I don't know if you can get a Chris Paul, a Pascal, and a Porzingis, and all the contracts we have. I mean, if you get Pascal and you get rid of Hartenstein and RJ, that money works, so it's even to what we have now. That's nothing crazy. You give Josh Hartis maybe a 14 million. That's almost what he had, so we'll be very close to being over. And then you pay a Porzingis, and then you bring I don't know. That's why I don't think Chris Paul would work. I don't know if they go after Porzingis. It's either Porzingis or maybe Chris Paul. I don't know. And then who you get from the bench, you keep, I guess, Sims. If you get rid of Hartenstein, you already got Sims at a cheap price. You re-sign Deuce at $1 million. It's interesting. There's a lot of moves being made here. We'd like Porzingis, but if they get a Chris Paul and a Pascal, you can forget that. I don't see that. That's too much money. So it's got to be one or the other. Either they go for Pascal, which I think that's who they go for. I don't see them going after OG when he misses a lot of games. I don't know. That's going to be tough on there. You still got to trade players. So the odd man out would probably be RJ, because they're all in on Randall. Randall has played what they offered him. If you make All Star, they gave the same type of deal to RJ. However, RJ this year would be a rebound year, kind of like how Randall had. This would be a rebound year, and I think RJ would bounce back this year. He's working in the off season. I haven't seen Obi active on the gram or anything else, so I think he's working hard to get his game right. IQ, happy birthday to IQ. Yesterday was his birthday. He's out there literally living his best life. Um, he's already proven what he can do, and I'm pretty sure he's going to come back and be a gym rat. He's just enjoying his time. So, interesting time, guys. A lot of stuff's happening right now. Keep a lookout for Toronto. There's smoke there. Woj reported Knicks is a possibility for Chris Paul. So let's get that right. He said a possibility. There's a bunch of teams out there. Phoenix is going to look for their best opportunity to get Chris Paul. The teams that they were mentioning with Chris Paul is the Lakers, the Clippers, us, and I forgot the other team. But out of all those teams, who could Phoenix get that's going to be equivalent to Chris Paul or better or younger, that'll help? Because they got to pay. They're paying, a lot of money out there. So if you want to get talent, you want to get someone who's young, who can help that team win. So IQ fits that bill. IQ can shoot the rock. He can pass. He's had a triple double before, so he can rebound. He's a good rebound. He's a good defender for his size. Him, KD, and Booker would be something. And he plays all the time. He's healthy. He's gonna make it. He'll be there for the postseason. So I think that out of all of them, that's gonna be their best option at the guard position, unless they're going for like a D'Lo or something like that. But I don't know. I don't see how that works. LA really doesn't have much to give him. They could take the contract, but I don't know how Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George, all who are consistent health wise in the playoffs, that would be. I don't know. I don't see that working unless you rest all of them for half a year. And even then, that's not guaranteed, because you did that with Kawhi, and then at the end, he destroys his knee. So, and they have to resign him. So, Chris Paul and Paul George, Kawhi, Kawhi and Paul George, they have to resign him. They're building a brand new arena. They're not going to build all that and then put rookies out there that's not going to fill those seats. So you have to keep this talent. You have to. I mean, right now it's a money move. You got to get people to come to the arena, buy jerseys, tickets. So they have to get talent, even if it doesn't get them to the finals, even if it doesn't get them to the championship. They just got to be somewhat competitive, have good name talent out there until they can get their stuff together because they got to fill seats. They just spent all this money on this new arena, millions or a billion, whatever it is for that, millions, billions, trillions. They spend a lot of money on it, so that's donezo for them. He could go to LA. Would that do anything for them? I don't know. Nothing in the West. Chris Paul on the West has not been successful. So, but I think the real smoke is in Toronto. Keep an eye out for that. That's all I got for today. There's other moves, but we'll jump back on later on. But watch out for Toronto. And then check us out. Go to the Instagram, like, subscribe, comment. Yeah, I'm replying to the comments, good, bad, or different, when you like them or not. Shout out to the new subscribers. We appreciate you guys, all of y'all. Salute everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Holla at us Fridays, 5 p.m., Sunday, 5 p.m. We go live, and we love chatting it up with you guys. So I answer all the questions on the live, and we go out. It's a lot of fun. So talk to you guys soon, and see you guys this weekend. This weekend's my B-Day weekend. Got a lot happening, so I don't know. I'll try the Friday for sure. Sunday is Father's Day, so I don't know. I'm a daddy, so I don't know about Sunday. I'm going to try my best Friday for sure. All right? Peace.